Overseas workers needed to fill the labour shortage in the aged care sector have not returned since borders reopened. There are concerns the staffing crisis will only worsen over the winter flu season, putting more pressure on already strained and fatigued workers. Joining us live now is Shadow Minister for Senior Australians and Aged Care Services, Clare O'Neill. Clare O'Neill, great to be with you. Staffing levels across the country in aged care are down by 20 to 30%. How do we fix this?
Oh, Gab, it is such an important issue, and you'll remember the Royal Commission showed that 2/3 of aged care residents today are malnourished or at risk of malnourishment. Issues around the management of incontinence, of wounds, all these things come back to having a skilled workforce that's properly paid for the work that they do. So you're right to point this out as a crisis. There are some really big things that need to happen that Labor will implement if we win the election. We need to pay aged care workers properly. We're not going to recruit the workforce we need until we address that. We need to fix the job of an aged care worker. We need to fix the aged care system, because a lot of the reason that people are leaving this sector in droves is because they don't want to participate in something that's so broken. So there are many things we can do, but I do fear what will happen if Labor isn't elected, Gab. The truth is that aged care workers have had enough after the last Omicron outbreak. A huge number left the sector, and if they don't get some hope, then I think that we're going to see real problems as we come into winter and beyond.
How much more could aged care workers be expected to be paid under a Labor government?
Well, it's a good question, Gab. So the Royal Commission, you'll remember, recommended as one of its core findings that aged care workers need to get a pay rise. Now, this is important because the work that's being done by aged care workers is some of the most difficult, physically complex, emotionally exhausting work that's done in Australia today, and yet you'll earn more making coffees or stacking shelves in a supermarket than you will looking after some of the sickest people in the country. So it's absolutely wrong. It's also essential that we fix it, because we can't provide care to the elderly until we recruit a much larger workforce of people to do it. So workers have gone to the Fair Work Commission and said that they need a pay rise, and Labor, if we're elected, will support the workers in their bid to do that. Importantly, Gab, we will also fund the pay increase that's provided to aged care workers. Now, this is crucial because aged care in this country today is, as a sector leader said in The Guardian, hanging on by their fingernails. 60% of aged care homes around the country are running at a loss. 21 aged care homes are in the process of shutting their doors. That will be like a domino effect across this sector unless we have a government in Canberra that stumps up and says that they're going to pay for the wage increase. That at the moment only Labor will do that.
So what would the pay rise look like? Is there a percentage you're willing to commit to?
Yeah, so the Fair Work Commission sets wages independent of politicians, and that's absolutely the way it should be done. What aged care workers are asking the Fair Work Commission to do is give them a 25% pay increase. So that probably sounds like a lot, but remember that aged care workers today are on, the award is less than $22 an hour, so they're talking about moving up to 25. If you're working in disability today, you're probably earning quite a bit more than that already. So Labor's not going to commit to a specific percentage increase, but I would just come back to this, Gab. We cannot fix aged care in this country unless we address the pay of aged care workers. It is a core part of Labor's plan. Aged care residents, senior Australians, aged care workers, aged care providers are all on the same page. If we can't fix this, the mistreatment of older people is going to continue, and that's why it's essential that a Labor government step up and do the things that I've just mentioned.
25% does sound like a lot. What's fair in your mind?
Yeah. Sorry, I missed that.
What would you think's fair? Is 25% too much?
I mean, the thing that aged care workers are asking is to be put on par with disability. And the reason that they're using this is because, as you would know, disability workers are not exactly on the best wicket out there. But at the moment, we're hemorrhaging workers from aged care straight into disability, where you can do work of a similar skill set but get paid, $6, $7 an hour more. Why wouldn't you? So that's what the workers are asking for. I think that's fair and reasonable, but honestly, this is going to be up to Fair Work. We're going to come in behind those workers, though, Gab, and not just because this is a matter of justice for those workers, but again, the oldest of the baby boomers turns 76 this year. We're about to have this largest ever of Australian generations come into the aged care system. We don't have the workers we need today to support the people who are already using aged care. The system is hanging on by a thread, and unless Labor is elected with our comprehensive plan to fix aged care in this country and treat older Australians with dignity, then I don't think we're going to have an aged care system that's fit for purpose for this generation of baby boomers that's soon to draw on it.
The staffing crisis is expected to get worse. What's the short-term solution with winter just around the corner?
Look, Gab, I mean, this may sound a bit glib, but what aged care workers really want to see and hear, as they're all, so many of them say that they're making this decision about whether to stay in the sector, is that there's a government in Canberra that's actually going to step up and fix aged care. I just ran a community forum for seniors in the seat of Boothby, and people say to me, why are we being told it's too expensive and too difficult? If these sorts of massive amounts of neglect were being inflicted on children or any other vulnerable group in the community, there wouldn't be a hesitation from government to step up and fix it. So Labor is saying at this election, there's a real choice for you. If you care about aged care, you need to think about voting Labor at this election, even if you don't normally vote Labor. We've got, a big plan to actually address the woeful neglect of older Australians, but it's not going to happen unless we have a Labor government in place in Canberra.
Okay, Clare and Neil, we have to leave it there. Thanks so much for your time this morning.
Great to talk, Gab. Thanks so much.